The extent of radicalization in the American Muslim community and the community's response. The official name of the controversial House hearings that are getting underway on Thursday. One of the people scheduled to testify before Congressman Peter King and the Homeland Security Committee is Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. He is the founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Joins me now from Phoenix. Dr. Jasser, thanks for being with us. What is the American the American Islamic Forum for Democracy meant to do?
It's nice to be with you, Ali. It's basically an organization that we formed as a think tank and an activist group to talk about the fact that the only solution to terrorism, which is a symptom, is actually reform and the separation of mosque and state. And basically we find any opportunity to advocate for that reform, giving Muslim youth and Muslim young adults a sense of identity with America, and that once that identification is made, it's the only solution to radicalization. All
right, is that the problem with those Muslims who may be the problem in America? And let's not, I think we can both accept that, that Peter King may be being a little bit broad about where he thinks the problem comes from, but clearly, of those Muslims who are a threat to the safety of Americans and the United States, is that the issue, that they don't separate mosque and state?
It really is. I feel it is, and that they look upon Western society. Remember, violence is that final step, and so far the dialogue in government and media has just been too myopic. We're not fixing the problem, as Prime Minister Cameron said a few weeks ago, is that not only do we need to treat the violent radicals that are in the pool, we need to drain the ideology from the pool that they're swimming in. That ideology is political Islam, the sense of an Islamic state, that you have to have Sharia in government, and a supremacist idea that societies that have an establishment clause under God but not under Islam are inferior and thus not their own.
Why then, because we've had Muslims in America for a long time, why is this now a bigger deal? Why have Muslims started, according to Representative Peter King, started to get radicalized?
That's a great question. I think it's because as you get a critical mass, and as you see some of these ideas, whether it's the jihadi cool on the internet, the cyber jihad, you see some ideas that are transmitted during the Iraq-Afghanistan war, that America is killing Muslims against Islam. You see groups that claim to speak for American Muslims, really all about saying, don't talk to the FBI, they're against you, only talk to them with an attorney. They're suing the FBI on monitoring issues, and the narrative, the bandwidth is being filled more and more with victimology, circling the wagons rather than fixing and repairing our own reform and modernization, and I think that creates radicalization.
Now, Peter King said something about the leadership. He said most American Muslims are good Americans, but their leadership has to change. It's a remarkably naive statement from him to talk about the leadership of a religion. Islam, like Christianity or Judaism, doesn't have some sort of leadership for all Muslims.
Well, that's exactly right, Ali. But the thing is when we say leadership, we're basically saying, well, the people that happen to be speaking for Muslims, but yet the ones that are the majority, that are the...
But that's not necessarily leadership, right?
Like I mean, every other American...
Osama bin Laden claims to be speaking for Muslims, and most Muslims would say Osama bin Laden doesn't speak for me.
Well, exactly. So the Muslims that separate mosque and state are not going to identify with Islamic groups that happen to have Washington addresses, so they're not going to have microphones. They're going to be embedded into our Rotary clubs, our medical associations, our bar associations. They don't have a voice yet. So we as a country, in order to de-radicalize or counter-radicalize, need to give new platforms for secular liberal Muslim organizations, as Prime Minister Cameron said, a muscular liberalism, to wake up Muslims to say, you know what, let's not let the brotherhood type groups that have been speaking for our community to continue to do so, but let other new endogenous organic Muslim groups that believe in the Constitution's true establishment clause and believe in the duty to reform to start to lead also, and also get a voice.
Real quick question, quick answer from you. 1% of America might be Muslim, 2.5 million Muslims or something like that in the United States. What percentage of those Muslims do you think are radicalized?
If radical means violence, is a very, very small percent, 3 to 4%. If radicalization comes from political Islam or Islamism, I'd say it's probably 20, 30, 40%. We need to study that more.
All right, good to talk to you. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. We look forward to listening to your testimony on Capitol Hill. Dr. Zuhdi Jasser is the founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, joining me from Phoenix.
Thank you.